Welcome back to another episode. Actually, no. Welcome back to season 3 of Chatty Chit Chats podcast with your girl Chatty. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited for season 3, y'all. I'm so excited for season 3. And we're kicking things off in the most realest, rawest ways. I want to talk about myself today. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I'm going through, where I'm at, and bring the podcast back in a new way with new energy. Just set the tone a little different, okay? I'm so excited to be back. We took a little hiatus just to kind of tune into self-care. I do a lot, okay? I do a lot. I have a lot going on. I do a lot, and I'm a really creative person, and I needed to take that time to myself. I wanted to hop on other projects. I wanted to kind of put my energy more into me, my kids, my family, and at the end of the day, I'm back. Chatty Chit Chats ain't going nowhere, y'all. Today, we're going to start the podcast off with some real raw vibes. I'm like ready to set the tone a little different today. As you can see, I have no lashes on today. In the last 4 years, I think I've been, well, let's say 3.5, 4 years. In the last 3 years, I've been so obsessed with lashes and just like how they make me look. And I feel like they elevate my face and they kind of like bring out my eyes. And I wasn't into lashes for years. I didn't know anything much about it. I didn't know how to wear them. And then my daughter, I have a 17-year-old daughter, she introduced me to lashes, y'all. Okay? She introduced me to lashes, and I've been obsessed ever since. And I think starting the podcast off without my lashes is just setting the tone for me, but also gonna be a topic today because I really want to talk about this because I feel like for a lot of different women, there's a lot of different things that we end up getting super attached to just because of how maybe it makes us look, or we feel that it elevates us, right? But it's become for me a thing where I almost felt like I needed them. Like I couldn't show up anywhere without my lashes. Like I didn't feel like I was cute anymore without my lashes. I started really like judging myself without my lashes and like talking down to myself. Like I'd be like, I ain't going nowhere without no lashes, child. I look tired. I look sick. And I think it's really unhealthy. It's become a little unhealthy for me. So I'm trying to reclaim my eyelashes, my natural no having eyelashes, okay? I'm trying to reclaim it, and that's why I'm sitting here with y'all today. No lashes, barefaced. I'm going to be looking at my computer a little bit because I do have some notes that I wanted to discuss just to kind of make sure we touch on everything today. I don't know if you guys seen, but we have moved the podcast. The podcast has a new home. We are still on YouTube for the full episodes, of course. But if you're looking for the teasers, if you're looking for the pod updates and things like that, trying to figure out what's going on with the podcast, we always announce new things there. So stay tuned. But follow Chatty Wellness. So many of you guys know that I'm a life coach and I have a business called Chatty Wellness Instagram. And it is a wellness business where I cater to self-care, wellness, and specifically towards the Black community, especially Black women. So we've kind of merged the podcast along with Chatty Wellness because they kind of serve the same purpose. And it's all about wellness, real vibes, talks, and growth. Chatty Wellness on Instagram. Also, before we get really into this lash stuff, I wanted to mention, just because I feel like it's really important since I'm merging these two, the podcast with my wellness business. I do have a women's group called Chatty Wellness Empower Her, CWE. And it is an online women's group. This is for Black women all around the world. It doesn't matter where you are. The only criteria to join is that you are to be Black and to be a female. So if you're interested in joining something like that, we meet up every single month, once a month online. There's going to be a link in the bio. Hit the link in the bio and register, or simply send me a DM on Chatty Wellness on Instagram. We also do have a book club. We got a book club, okay? I've been reading. I've been listening to audiobooks. We're currently reading The Book of Negroes by Lawrence Hill. Really, really good read. So I'm really excited that I've had the chance to kind of tap back into that through this women's book club. And you don't have to be a woman to be able to read with us. I post all that information on Chatty Wellness Instagram so you can read with us and follow along. But for the women that do join, it's a good time. It's a safe space. It's real talks and vibes. So hit the link in my description. Let's get into the episode. I want to talk really about with just like how I feel about where I'm at with my lashes. And, this is not true for everybody, right? Some people know how to have balance when it comes to certain things. I'm a Pisces. Anything I love hard. And I go deep, okay? And that's kind of what happened with the lashes. And so for me, it's kind of like just wanting to be okay with just my bare naked face, and, owning that. So we're going to reflect a little bit on how, like, I got here. So basically, like I said, I actually have like a little insecurity with my eyes. I've talked about this a couple times. And my insecurity with my eyes comes from like when I was younger, when I was like between the ages of 7 to 10. I was bullied about how big my eyes were and just like the size of them, and like how my eyes looked scary and they were like popping out my head, things like that, right? So that kind of shaped how I looked at and how I felt about my eyes. And at a really young age, I think like around 12, I got in trouble. I remember getting in trouble for stealing eyeliner and like wearing eyeliner to try to like give my eyes a certain look, to kind of like make them look smaller and do like the little cat eye and all that stuff that would kind of like make my eyes just feel cuter to me, or like to make me feel more pretty. And all of this, like I said, stems from like kids making fun of me. So it's so crazy how things that have happened to us in our past really shape us as adults, and really we carry them on. Like we think it's just like, oh, stupid little kids making jokes. No, those things really, really can shape us. I never really thought about my eyes until I started getting picked on for my eyes. So with the lashes thing, I started wearing eyeliner, and eyeliner was my thing from 12 all the way up. And my daughter introduced me to lashes because she started getting more into like her own beauty and stuff like that. And yeah, she taught me how to do strips first, and then I went on to the singles. Yeah, I became obsessed. I literally became a thing where I just like, I'm not going out if I can't. I need my lashes. Like it became an addiction, literally like an addiction. And I think people don't really realize how real it is for these kind of cosmetic things, or things that make us feel good physically and look good or whatever. Material things can really like attack our brains. Okay, like I feel free right now without my lashes. Like I can scratch my eyelid and not have to like pat my eyelid because I got lashes on. Like I feel so free. It's kind of like nails, right? With nails, I'm okay with on and off as long as I have something on my nails. I'm okay. They don't have to be long. But with nails, it's almost like when you take off them long nails, you could pick your boogers, you could pop that pimple, you could finally like use your fingers the way that they should be used. So it's kind of like that. I feel so free. I feel a little naked, a little uncomfortable, like, but I mean, this is the first step, right? So leaning on stuff like this, like, is so deep when it becomes like a real crutch, when you feel like you have to have this, you need to have this, and you're uncomfortable without this, right? Because being who you are is truly important. I mean, I don't knock, I'm all about the beauty, I'm all about the enhancements, I'm all about looking good and feeling good. And I think you should wear it all the time if that's what works for you, and if you know that you are still comfortable with who you are without that, right? I think that's the key, is like everything is done to a limit, but as long as your mindset is still good. And if you notice this, like I've noticed that I become insecure without that, that's when you have some work to do, right? You have some work to do. So the thing is that's really important to reflect on here and to just look at, is that small beauty choices can make bigger self-worth questions. And that's what it's saying right here. Is just like, I'm now questioning how pretty I am without lashes. You know what I'm saying? Which is very, very unhealthy. Social media culture and constant comparison can pressure Black women, especially us, to always be done up and to always look good, to always have our hair together and stuff like that. So society has a big thing to do with this, outside of like what happened to me and my personal experience. Like just as a whole, when a lot of women are not made up these days, Black women especially, you hear people say, and especially men, say things like, oh, like, she looks like she's unkept, or, things like that. And so sometimes that can pressure, Black women to want to like always, want to have these things together. I recently even seen a video about a principal who, in the US somewhere, a principal of a school, a Black guy, who went publicly to put up a post in front of the school to say that Black moms should not be, well, I guess it wasn't specific to Black moms, but obviously the post was towards Black women, as because it was about bonnets and not coming to looking presentable to school. And I think it's very unfair because our hair type is not just like, white girls where they can literally just get up, throw their hair in a bun and just, head out looking good. Like, we require gel, we require certain things, especially for certain hair types. And so sometimes throwing on that bonnet is just what works at that time. And we don't know what's going on with women in their households as moms. Like, I mean, we all know, and we should know at this point, that being a mom is a lot of work, right? And getting up early with them kids is not a joke, right? So sometimes I think it's okay to give people grace. And I think that's a part of the reason why there's so much pressure to be this certain way or to have this certain look or to make sure your hair is always done so you don't want to be judged, things like that. And so that's also an added pressure, just like it comes with the territory, right? I think a lot of it, like, I don't want to say that for me, I feel like when I first started wearing lashes, it was about trying to cover up who I am. It's more of I felt like I looked better. Just literally, that's it. Flat out, plain out. Felt like I looked better. But the problem is, because that's what makeup does, right? That's what doing your hair does. That's what putting on nice clothes does. Things like that, right? And it enhances how you look, right? It gives you your own expression. But when it becomes something that you feel like you need to lean on and you dislike yourself without it, I think that's a problem. Having a preference is okay. Like, I prefer to look like this and I prefer to, move like this, wear this and do that. But if you feel like you dislike or hate yourself without those things, that's when you have like actual work to do. So I think the question that everybody should ask themselves in this case with anything is like, if you feel like you're so obsessed with something or you need this thing, like, really ask yourself, like, do you really need this thing or do you just like this thing? And if you feel like you really need this thing, let's start analyzing that. What does that look like? Why do you need this thing? And how healthy is that for you? And do enhancements stop being fun and start being survival armor? Like, you need this in order to really just like live and be, right? Because if they stop selling lashes today, what the hell am I gonna do? I just really wanted to touch on where I'm at when it comes to lashes and just like really trying to live in my truth and love me for me and all versions of me. And of course, again, my podcast is all about real talks, right? Talking about my personal thoughts, my personal feelings on things, and where I'm at with things. I also answer advice questions, so keep those coming. Keep sending in the questions, y'all. Okay, we're back. So start sending in your questions that you need advice on and questions that you just want clarity on, things like that. I do have some new things that I'd like to incorporate in this podcast, such as if people will write in, I'd like to do anonymous confessions, right? So I'm gonna figure out an app where you guys can write in as viewers some anonymous confessions. I won't even know who wrote the questions or who wrote these confessions. It's not like the anonymous questions where I just don't say your name live, but I can still see who wrote the advice question. It's not going to be like that. So you'll also be able to write your advice questions in there as well. I'm working on it for now, so stay tuned. Later in the podcast, you'll see that as an added like feature. Another thing that I'm really, really excited to bring to the podcast is I've been doing tarot card reading. I go live on TikTok a lot, pretty often. Let me show y'all my TikTok so y'all can follow. But follow me on TikTok. It's also in the link below, so click the link below. But I go live often, and on my live streams, I do free advice all the time. That's where I get a lot of my questions for the podcast as well. But I've been getting a lot of questions for clarity and for advice, and I've been using the tarot cards to kind of like guide me and kind of add like another fun feature to the live streams and to these questions and to giving these answers out. So it's been pretty fun. So I might add that element to the podcast as well. Comment down below if that's something that you'd like to see. I use AI as well, so I do use ChatGPT to kind of give me a proper and accurate reading since I'm still learning what each card means. But it's so fun. If you're a spiritual person, that would be something that I think you would enjoy. It's just more of guidance. So you can definitely write in your question in the comments if you want to see me answer something, okay? But I will be pulling cards for myself all the time on there and about like worldly things that are happening in pop culture and just trending on social media and stuff like that. So today, to kind of end off the podcast, I really wanted to talk about self-care versus sabotage. So self-care versus sabotage. I really want to talk about how people label things as self-care, but sometimes they're really sabotage. Like, so self-care word is being like dragged around the whole world, and everybody's just like, yeah, self-care, self-care. And some things are actually sabotaging for yourself. So like I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit. And if you relate to this, it's okay. We're gonna figure it out. So talking about self-care is something that people are saying like, oh, I'm gonna treat myself. And that's their self-care. Like, oh, I'm gonna treat myself to this, skip the dishes tonight. Or I'm gonna treat myself to this, I'm gonna go ham on Amazon and start ordering a bunch of stuff. Or those shoes that I really wanted. Right? And you just out of nowhere decide that that's the treat you want for yourself. Something that you didn't plan, you didn't budget. And at the end of the day, that's not something that's really gonna last you in the long run, right? Self-care is something that should last. Something that should recharge you. And I'm saying that, I'm sitting here thinking, but when I do order that, that chicken bowl from freaking Edo, Japan, and I sit down with my Netflix, I feel recharged. So those are temporary self-care actions, right? And those are things that are going to give you temporary happiness. But also, too, the sabotage comes in because then later you have that regret. You done spent out the bank, okay? You done came out the budget. You done ate unhealthy. So sometimes you end up having that regret because that treatment that you decided to, that treat you decided to give yourself ends up being something that was just out of the blue because it was emotional and you just felt like you deserved that. So sometimes self-care can be your own self-sabotage. So some of the ways that we self-sabotage would be, for example, retail therapy. We say, I deserve this bag, I deserve this hair or this trip. And sometimes, yes, you do. But when the spending leaves you broke, stressed, and hustling harder next month, okay, that's self-sabotage. That's not self-care, right? For some of us, it's emotional. So like overgiving, right? So some of us convince ourselves that pouring into everybody else is our self-care. Like hosting, cooking, planning. And because it makes you feel needed, you want to do that. But later it leaves you feeling empty and resentful, right? For some of us. And if that's how you end up feeling, that's self-sabotage, right? For the culture, like for the people that are the wine girlies, love wine. Wine is marketed so heavily as a self-care product, as a self-care action or act, right? Grab your glass of wine. But for a lot of people, especially women, it's very numbing. It numbs you from what you're really feeling. And if that's the only way that you can relax, that's a red flag. That's unhealthy, right? That's self-sabotage. That's no longer self-care, right? That's just masking the issue for now. So you have to really look at the things that you're doing and take in why you're doing this and what that means to you. The lines get a little blurry, right? Because we carry so much, and when we finally get a moment, we just want to be free, right? For me, I'm going to use myself as an example. I have so much going on in my life. I have a special needs child. I have a business to run. I'm married. I have a house to run. I'm in school. I'm a business analyst. I'm a podcast host. I'm a content creator. I have so much going on, right? And when I finally get that free moment from everything that I have to do, I'm looking to watch a ratchet reality show. Baddies, baddie, shut up. I'm looking to watch a ratchet reality show. Okay? Very unproductive. Nothing to do with self-care really, but for me feels like self-care because I get to escape, right? It's not the most healthy thing. And some of these things are just not helping us heal, right? It might feel good in the moment, right? I'm not saying to like stop watching your ratchet reality shows because I damn sure ain't gonna stop watching. But what I'm saying is to know the balance and have a balance and to not overindulge in the things that are unhealthy for you. Indulging for entertainment purposes is completely fine. But when you start to feel like you're adapting certain behaviors because of what you're taking in, or you're starting to feel certain emotions because of what you're taking in, you're not as productive because of what you're taking in, things like that. That's when you need to really take a look at what it is. Another layer of this is protecting your peace, okay? Another layer is protecting your peace. Sometimes protecting your peace is walking away and choosing silence. Moving on is a way of protecting your peace. That is self-care sometimes, right? Sometimes it's self-care. Sometimes it's real self-care, because sometimes that's just all you can do, right? There's no point in dragging something on that's unhealthy for you when you can just walk away, right? Not everything needs closure. Not everything requires closure. Okay, I'll say that again. Not everything requires closure. Sometimes you just can't get the closure, right? So you may have to give that to yourself. And what that looks like is moving on, okay? Sometimes silence, though, can be self-sabotage, because if you're staying quiet because you don't feel confident, you're scared of conflict, or because you've been gaslit into shrinking yourself, okay? Because we know that there's gaslighters out here. They be gaslighting the shit out of people, right? And it makes you just feel like, what's the point? Sometimes it's okay to walk away in that case, because there's no point in going back and forth if it's just not worth it. But if it's worth it to you, push through that, because using your voice is your power. Like, that's where you are, standing up for yourself. That's where you avoid suppressing how you feel, right? Because all that suppression ends up like bottling up and leading to depression feelings, stress feelings, and just not good feelings. You end up feeling drained, right? I think the question to ask yourself here is, am I staying quiet because I'm scared to speak up? I'm scared of an argument, or I'm scared I won't get the response that I think I deserve. If those are the reasons that you're staying quiet, then you should start using your voice, right? If you're the person that has no problem usually speaking up, you share how you feel, and stuff like that, but you notice that a situation just doesn't require that for you, that's completely fine. That's completely fine. Some of the things you can ask yourself is, what's something that I call self-care that actually leaves me feeling drained? Is any of your activities that you consider self-care leaving you feeling drained, overworked, overstimulated, over emotional, overwhelmed? Is it making you feel any of those feelings, right? Where in my life am I avoiding instead of healing? So are you diving into those reality shows like I am just because you want to avoid and escape what you're going through? You don't want to think about it. Are you drinking those glasses of wine just to avoid everything every single day? It's okay to indulge a little bit, and every now and then those vices are good to have, but to do that on a consistent basis and to never deal with what you're going through or what you're feeling, that's unhealthy. And the last thing for you to just think about is, am I protecting my peace, or am I just avoiding conflict? Think about that. Sit with that, right? Use your voice. It's your power. Use your voice. It's your power, right? Protecting your peace is real, and taking care of yourself is necessary, but don't let self-care become a mask for habits that actually sabotage your growth. I feel like it's really important for us to keep having these conversations, and we're going to get deeper and more real as the episodes go on. If you have a topic that you'd love to see me share or discuss, please drop it below in the comments or send me a DM on Chatty Wellness. Okay, let's get into these topics. If you want to know how I feel about something, you want to hear my opinion on something, you need personal advice, encouragement, love, light, you just want to share how you feel and you want me to share it on the podcast, please comment down below. We're looking for all of the participation that we can get. Let's get chatty together. So this is the Chatty family, and let's keep the conversations going until episode 2, every Thursday or every other Thursday. Bear with me, y'all. I'm going to try to do every Thursday, but every other Thursday we're going to have a new episode drop out. If you're looking for updates on when episodes are dropping, if an episode is not dropping, what time episodes are dropping, and all those fun things, all that good stuff, please join the community on Chatty Wellness. Chatty Wellness on Instagram. Again, link below. Bye!